Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking and pension needs, call or visit a Fidelity branch today. Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. And Cayman Pharmacy Group, with locations in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. And Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling Seaboard Marine at 949-4977.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, TGIF, July 20th, 2018. I want to thank you, our listening and viewing audience, for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the not-so-busy roads of the Cayman Islands this time of the year, because school is out, so less traffic on the road, especially early in the morning and around 3 o'clock in the afternoon as well. So I want to thank you, whether for listening to Radio Cayman. You're welcome to join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. on For the Record, a show that is produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman. You can join us in the conversation by calling us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Of course, if you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at For the Record. That is one word, For the Record, at CANDW.KY. We have a WhatsApp number, 925-3261, where you can leave a text message or a voice note. If you leave a voice note, then that voice note will be played during the course of the show. The text contents of the text message will be read as well. We also have YouTube that is active, and you can subscribe to YouTube through Radio Cayman live stream as well. So there are lots of ways for you to be able to communicate with us, as well as to be able to communicate with all of your audience as well. Just want to give a big shout out again to all of those neighborhood watch groups out there doing an excellent job. Keep up the good work, and I give a big shout out to the residents of Tropical Gardens, my friends over there, Sadie Shillette, Miss Mary, and don't worry, Miss Mary, one of these days I'm going to get that turtle meat for you. I'm going to get that turtle meat that has been promised to you as well. Today, being Friday, of course, it is the day that has been reserved for the official opposition to be in the studio. And I was surprised this morning, really, because I didn't expect to have the leader of the opposition in with us this morning. And then he brought Mr. Arden McLean as well. I'm made to understand what they say now is that it doesn't seem sometimes if one of them can handle me. So they figured, well, if one can't handle me, we'll double bank him and have two of us deal with Mr. OC on For the Record. So it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than Mr. D. Ezzard Miller, MLA and leader of the opposition, and with him, MLA Mr. Arden McLean. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, OC, and just to give you some comfort, we're not here because it needs to us to handle you. Arden is here to keep me from doing you too bad.
Okay.
I'm here to keep Arden from doing you too bad.
My protector is there, right?
So we're your dual protectors. But
Yes.
thanks for having us, and we look forward to a good morning. We have some things that we need to talk about.
Yes. I see one of you, what do they say in social media? BFF, best friend forever. The Caymanian Compass. Big editorial this morning in support of you.
Well, Arden, you see how you're starting off the show. Well, and listen, when it comes to children on our side, I welcome and I give thanks for all the help I can get. Right? And the editorial that the children deserve to feel, I agree with. Can we leave it there?
Yeah, yes, we can leave it there. Yeah, it's your show this morning. Mr. McLean, how are things going?
I am good, O.C. Good morning, and good morning to all your listening audience. I really didn't come beat you up, O.C. I must tell you, it doesn't take two of us to handle you.
Three. You need 3 or 4.
but we have, over the years, been a pretty good tag team, in and out.
Yes.
What he forgets, I remember, and vice versa. But it's always good to come on here. People have said that I have been missing in action. So I guess now they'll say that they're hearing me too much because I was here last Friday also. But a couple issues that needs to be addressed. And I don't want to be here constantly complaining and rubbing about things, but there are matters that needs to be brought or addressed so that something can be done about them. And no matter who is in power, there will always be matters that are not addressed in a timely manner. I should say that I had the opportunity yesterday to go to East End with Mark Bothwell. Now I know Mark. Mark worked for me as a minister. And
he's one of the interim directors now at the DOE.
Deputy director, acting deputy. What I do know about Mark is that the job will get done. I had the opportunity this morning also coming in to meet one of the other guys that worked with me, which was Troy Jacobs. And I know these kids, when you give them something to do, they're going to do it. That's what I know about them. For months, you heard me talking about all the garbage in East End and stuff. For months, we have had cars tagged, and they haven't been picked up. Illegal creation of dumps in East End. Nothing is being done. The occasional time that they clean it up, then it goes right back to where it was.
Because they don't prosecute people.
So, thankfully the police now are being a little more vigilant, and I should thank Courtney Miles for that, because we have 3 police up there now that is permanent, 3 north side, and Davis Scott and is leading that entire thing, and they're being a little more vigilant with this garbage thing. But the interesting thing was that I arranged with Mark sometime since Monday, I believe, and he went and tell the staff in the staff meeting day before yesterday that he was going to meet me yesterday. By yesterday morning, they'd pick up some of the cars, which is good.
That one, when you're just leaving East End, have they taken that one up?
No,
it was tagged. That one was tagged. Has been tagged for quite a while.
They haven't taken that up yet. But we went and looked at all of it, and he made notations and stuff, and registered it, and took pictures and stuff like that. What I don't know about this young man, that he can get the job done. That kind of stuff he can get done, and I have every
excuses and blame other people.
Do we know if that's the intention if it is their intention to meet with every member of the Legislative Assembly to discuss their particular constituency in terms of how they handle the garbage? Is that, if that's the intent?
I don't know. I think every member of the legislature should call and make an appointment.
I think it's an initiative that we need to take, because I know that the district council has been communicating with Mr. Sims, and he's working with them to get some drums as containers and all that to put along the side of the road. Because when we use these, we've done this several times over the years, but when we use these big plastic buckets, the big plastic drums, people pick them up and carry them with them. They steal a garbage container.
And one of the things that we discuss in Ezzard, maybe, I discussed this with Mark Bothwell, that is now. And Mark and I are on first name basis fishing. One of the things we discussed was this thing that we have thought about for the last 10, 15 years about putting garbage depots in the different districts. And
particularly for white goods and trash.
Yeah. And we looked at the property next to the Civic Center, which would keep it out of the public eye. Yeah. And then they can do it once a week. That's about the most suitable piece of land up there that is concealed from the public eye on a regular basis. The kids who go to the football field would probably see it up in the corner. But if they clean it out on a regular basis, I think it would work, because what they do is put one of the big skips there. And then they go with garbage, the
grab
truck, and take it out on a regular basis. I believe that would be an interim solution to the problems we're having.
Remember a couple of years ago, I think when Rolson was in there, they had started one down Barcus or something down West Bay, which was working good.
It was working good until they didn't go and clear it out. But I know that Mark does good scheduling. And certainly, if he set up the system, he says he's only going to be there 3 months. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that.
Well, if he does an excellent job, why not keep him there longer?
Well, I don't know. You robbing Peter pay Paul, and then Peter's going to get broke. Because the other section then will go down the drain as well.
Which one really needs the most attention now, as well as which one is the more challenging? Is it the recreational and parks unit, or is it that we don't hear too many people complaining about that? I see the guys out there in the mornings cleaning the streets. No one has complained about the public beaches and cemeteries and stuff like that. All of that seems to be working well.
Yeah, it's established, and Mark did a very good job with that, and I should congratulate him, because remember me who started that unit. Yes. That was a vision I had, to have these things clean so they can, and I'll never forget the letter I wrote to the staff, which was, I want them to be beacons within the communities so that children can encourage their parents to take them there. And it's about families. And he has established that. We got people like Arena them there that know what they're doing. Yeah. But hopefully, I'm not saying they will let up, but the fact is that it will be leaderless.
You see, again, there has been no announcement of who they're putting in charge of that unit to act while he's over there.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I happen to know who it is, but it's only because of the EIU that I know.
Okay, we have to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record with Leader of the Opposition, Mr. D. Ezzard Miller, and MLA Mr. Arden McLean will continue after this short commercial break.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
The Wesleyan Ministry Society saw its rise between 1837 and 1844. The central figure to the movement was Reverend James Atkins, with his opening visit in May of 1837. Now, while Reverend Atkins praised his predecessor, Reverend David Wilson, on his friendly demeanor, Reverend Atkins did not express content with his other views. In his writings to the Wesleyan Ministry House in London, Reverend Atkins wrote of the conditions of the churches and his concern of the spiritual condition of the people, saying they were living without God or hope in the world. Atkins also emphasized his contempt for the culture and physical differences which were still in place from the former masters compared to their former slaves.
Radio Cayman's Historical Facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Why rush around paying bills when you can pay most of your bills online? Cayman National offers an extensive list of service providers. Visit CaymanNational.com and log on to our personal or business online banking systems. Not an online banking customer? Contact their customer support team on 949-8300 for more information.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Can you explain what a less than container load is for shipment and what your minimum charge is?
Sure. A less than container load, or LCL, is any overseas shipment that does not require the full space of a container. At Seaboard, we have great rates for small packages. Just let us know the dimensions of your package and we'll help you out from there.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Did you hear that Vamped Motors has your sale going on now? And you get your choice on the money you'll save on your new car or truck?
My sale? My choice? Really?
Yeah! And they have lots of cars on sale. Some up to $7,000 off.
Sounds pretty good.
It gets even better. You can choose to take the full discount, or you can get some or all of it as cash back.
Extra cash back would be great.
Exactly! And you can even use the savings to extend your warranty or service plan so you'll drive worry-free for years longer.
Another good idea.
If you want to upgrade with something like a new roof rack or backup camera, you can choose that too.
Wow, I get to choose?
Yeah, that's why it's your sale, your choice. Going on now at Vamped Motors on Walkers Road, while stocks last.
A pharmacy is where you go for medicine and for the pharmacist's advice on how to take them. Here at CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, our pharmacists are trusted health professionals whose job is to help people receive the best results out of their medicine. They know exactly what's in your prescriptions and will be happy to answer any of your questions. You can be sure that our pharmacist will see that your medicine is at the right strength, in the right dose, and will check that you yourself know how to take them or use them properly. Come in today for a consultation with our pharmacist at CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All-Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Optical Outlook is so wicked.
They're brilliant. Tremendous.
So hot. They're awesome. Yo, them cool.
They're sweet.
Just ice, mate.
I love them like cooked food.
Head to Optical Outlook and find many designer brands for men and women. Sun safety and eye health care never look so good. They'll be able to help you find the best fit for your face and budget. Call 746-2020 and book your eye exam today. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record, with your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Leader of the Opposition, Mr. D. Ezzard Miller, and the MLA, Mr. Arden McLean. Gentlemen.
But also, one of the things that I want to raise is you would have seen the compass yesterday and all the media hype over the final removal of the tires at the landfill.
Yes.
Now, I agree that the actual removal of the tires is a good thing. But that don't deserve the praise that everybody's giving it, because we need to go back, look back. My recollection is that the government, some years ago, posted an RFP, request for proposal, for somebody to buy the tires and remove them from the landfill. You recall that?
Yes.
Okay. It is also my understanding, which was confirmed in a telephone conversation yesterday with the person that actually won that first bid, right? And he has promised that when he gets back on the island, he's going to expose the contract and stuff that they'd given him and whatnot. Because the government was asking for people to buy the tires, to pay the government for the tires.
Mm-hmm.
That is my understanding, that first effort, RFP, fell apart in the end because they wanted to change the conditions under which the RFP were issued, right? Okay. It is my recollection that they issued 2 RFPs after that. The second RFP, the information I have says that they didn't get any suitable responses to that, and they got responses to that. The third RFP, they had 2 responses, right? But the point I want to make is that the government had a product that had a value. They refused the value that was offered on it because it was too low, right? And then we turn around, right, and we pay somebody, right, to move the tires, right, on a per tire basis, right? Then we allow the person to then sell the byproduct of the tires to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
So that person is double dipping, right? And it is my understanding that it was said at the press conference that exercise cost the government $1.47 million. So even if we only got a couple of $100,000, even if we didn't get $100,000, even if we got 1 cent a tire, right, it would have positive income.
Yes.
But what we need is an explanation of why the ministry moved from a situation where they had a product that had a value, right, that the government could get income from by selling it,
Mm-hmm.
to a position where they have paid, right, a substantial value, $1.47 million, for somebody to take the product, right, and convert it and then sell the product to make money on it. I mean, that's a good business to be in. Now, we need to know what caused that 180-degree shift in government's policy and why. Because I think Mr. Arden can confirm, but when he was the minister responsible, he actually bought a tire trader, right? And it's also my understanding that in the beginning, the person who the government gave the contract to, right? And I don't recall, right, that being an RFP coming out for that. I'm not saying they didn't do it, but I don't recall an RFP coming out saying we will pay somebody to move the tires.
So this rating that is being done now is being done by a private entity? Or,
right.
Okay.
Well, what we did was, and it was my understanding that in the beginning he was using the government trader, but I think after he got a certain amount of income, then he brought in his own trader, right? But the problem I have with this thing is the public needs to be told why. Why did we go from government getting income at no expenditure, the government spending $1.47 million, right? And then allowing the person to sell the byproduct to make more money.
Well, let me do some clarification here. When I was minister responsible, I did RFP as well, and the response was nil. They also wanted me to pay for those tires, and I refused to do that. The cost was in shipping the tires back overseas. One, they're toxic, and that's the reason America says this is toxic and what have you, and you have to pay toxic taxes, all kinds of stuff, handling and the likes, just like oil. We bite the bullet on the oil and pay for it, but I refuse to do it in that manner when the tires in bulk the volume was going to kill us to send them back overseas. So what I did was I went and bought a shredder, which was shredded up in, I think it was 1 inch, 1 inch by 1.5 or 2, something like that. In my infinite wisdom, I figured we would bring down the volume, and put it straight into a container, so we would only have to pay for a container load going back each time, as opposed to all these tires on barges and what have you. And by bringing it down to that point, there would be more people out there interested in buying it. However, that backfired on me as well, because they wanted the wire out of it, the steel belt out of it. And that machine was like $3-4 million to do that. And I wasn't prepared to do that. So we bought a machine for a few $100,000, $400,000-500,000 or something. And that machine was being used, and then we were going to use that as cover for the regular garbage. This all went on just prior to me leaving there. Subsequently, that machine broke down and nobody fixed it. And it just languished there with nothing to do. And then they bought another one, the Beast, I think it's called. And that's what they were using then. And then this, the Trash, I think it is, that got the contract, they brought in another machine. But I want to know, the company's praising you up today. You mean tell me throwing the last tire on a shredder is newsworthy? Get the job done. Forget about publicity, about throwing 2 tires on one old shredder. Come on, man. I mean, that's the only thing they can do now to get publicity.
I have a
ministry.
Quick question. In relation to the tires, do we pay a substantial amount in terms of duty on tires for the whole purpose of disposal, similar to what we do with vehicles? And my question is with that, whether or not those funds are put into a segregated account, or whether or not they're commingled with all of government's revenue. So just like you have the Environmental Protection Fund, do we have a separate fund? So when it comes to the processing of these tires, that money is there for that purpose.
Try to remember, because the one thing I have is a good memory.
Very quick.
Everything goes into general revenue. When Gilbert McLean started the NRA, he took duties and all that kind of stuff, and a percentage of it had to go to NRA. When I went in right following Gilbert, we were trying to finalize that. Of course, at the time, it was, they didn't want to segregate those things. You remember, we were in cabinet together. You were there.
Yeah.
And what happened then, we had the, I can't remember the name of it, but it was $2 per tire coming into the country, which would be for disposal. Then we charge duties on it, and we increased that duty afterward as well by 2%. So we never did separate it. I don't know if it is now separated, but it goes straight into general revenue and use whichever way. Okay. But it should be separated for NRA. And
so that you know exactly what you have.
Exactly.
Okay, folks, please stay tuned. We're going to our 8 o'clock news. Don't change that dial. When we return, the conversation will continue with Leader of the Opposition, Mr. D. Ezzard Miller, and MLA, Mr. Arden McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Price Right is 7:59.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
the voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Dart Real Estate and NCB Group have entered a joint venture partnership to develop the first for-sale residential community in Cayman Bay. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
The residential development will be located south of Cayman Bay Town Center and adjacent to Cayman International School. The residential development will feature offerings ranging from one-bedroom condos to four-bedroom townhouses. Dart Real Estate and NCB Group have entered into a joint venture partnership to develop the project, and local firm Trio Architecture has been selected to design the project. The sales campaign is set to launch in the fourth quarter of 2018, with construction of the first phase expected to begin in the first half of 2019. April Cummings reporting for Radio Cayman News.
In other news,
to date we have 177 registered, and we have a significant amount to be registered, both in the online queue as well as the manual submissions over the counter.
That's Paul Ennis on the status of local non-profit organizations getting registered with the Cayman Islands government. A mandatory registration if you solicit donations from the public. To help those who haven't registered, the General Registry is extending it to hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays through the end of the month by appointment only.
You can come in with your documentation and we can look over it and we can vet it to ensure that you're fully in compliance with what we require.
To book a day and time for the sessions, email paul.ennis@gov.ky or cigenreg@gov.ky. The deadline to register for nonprofits is July 31st. The National Conservation Council is accepting nominations for new protected areas under the National Conservation Law. Council member Frederick Burton says the goal is to ensure that areas are preserved for future generations.
Protected areas aren't just about protecting wildlife, they're also about protecting areas for people. If we want to hang on to our unique natural identity in the Cayman Islands, if we want to have places where we can go and see Cayman parrots and other things that are unique to the island, we're going to need these protected areas.
Nominations should be sent to conservationcouncil@gov.ky with a description of the protected area and reasons why it should be protected. You have until September 15th to submit nominations. Visit doe.ky for more information. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC who will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Neil Nunes. The Russian ambassador to the U.S. has said his country is open to the idea of a proposed second meeting between Presidents Putin and Trump, this time in Washington. But the envoy could not confirm whether an invitation had yet been issued. The U.S. proposal comes amid continued controversy over Monday's summit in Helsinki between Mr. Trump. But Mr. Trump has now said his discussions with Mr. Putin were not always conciliatory. Chancellor Merkel of Germany has said it's essential to keep close ties with the United States despite current friction. She called America an important partner, though she said Europe could no longer rely on the U.S. to impose order on the world. South Korea's central bank says the economy of North Korea shrank by 3.5% last year, its steepest fall in 2 decades. The bank said UN embargoes on the North's main exports had significantly affected its growth. President Macron of France is to sack one of his aides, who was filmed hitting a street demonstrator while dressed as a policeman. Video showed Alexandre Benalla beating and stamping on a young man during a May Day march. WhatsApp will introduce experimental restrictions on its service in India. It wants to prevent malicious rumors from spreading. Allegations on WhatsApp about child abductions have led to at least 15 lynchings. The public health database of Singapore has suffered a major cyber attack. Unknown assailants stole about 1.5 million personal health records. They appear to include those of the Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. He has twice battled cancer. There's been intensive media coverage in India of a moment when the opposition leader Rahul Gandhi walked up to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Parliament and gave him a hug. Mr. Modi seemed at first taken aback by the gesture, which came after a stinging attack by Mr. Gandhi on the government. BBC News.
Access information. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Do you have a customer shutoff valve installed downstream of your water meter? If not, please contact the Water Authority to discuss having one installed. The customer shutoff valve enables you to turn off the water between the meter and your property. In the event of a storm, turning off the customer shutoff valve can prevent unexpectedly high water bills and property damage should a leak occur in your property's plumbing. This hurricane preparedness tip is brought to you by Water Authority Cayman, suppliers of the world's most popular drink.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
BritK protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
BritK, where people come first.
It's Pure Soul Talk, 7 a.m. on Sunday mornings with Spirit Biz 345. This is a radio segment that's fresh and new, it's non-denominational and fun, it's spiritual and motivational. Plus, you don't need to dress up or even to help pay into my building fund. Spirit Biz 345, about my Father's business. Listen in 7 a.m. Sundays, here and worldwide via streaming and on Facebook. God bless.
In financial news, world markets were mixed today as the deliberations over more U.S. tariffs on European countries and China weighed on sentiment. Keeping score, Germany's DAX added 0.1% to 12,693, while France's CAC 40 dropped 0.1% to 5,409 today. Britain's FTSE 100 gained 0.2% to 7,700. U.S. indexes were poised to open slightly lower. S&P 500 futures dipped less than 0.1% to 2,804, and Dow futures shed 0.1% to 25,030. Looking at Asia's day, despite a muted start, most Asian markets finished higher. Japan's Nikkei 225 bucked the regional trend, losing 0.3% to 22,697. South Korea's Kospi added 0.3% to 2,289. Hong Kong's Hang Seng gained 0.8% to 28,224, while the Shanghai Composite rebounded 2% to 2,829. In currencies, Trump's comments caused the greenback to decline slightly. Today, the U.S. dollar was trading at 112.43 yen, down from 112.46 late Thursday. The euro rose to 1.1654 from 1.1644. And in energy, benchmark U.S. crude added 1 cent to $68.25 per barrel in electronic trading on the New York Mercantile Exchange. On Thursday, the contract settled at $68.24 a barrel. Brent crude used to price international oils gained 45 cents to $73.03.
The Cayman Contractors Association would like to urge all contractors to register for the Builders Law by completing the application process. The application is online at www.planning.gov.ky. or the form can be collected from the planning department. Do not miss the July 31st deadline and be unable to pull a permit for your job. Ensure your company is licensed, as the public wants to hire licensed contractors. Join the Cayman Contractors Association and stay current on code courses, training, and industry news. The Cayman Contractors Association, building a better Cayman.
Place household garbage in large bags prior to its placement in a garbage container to avoid spillage during collection. A suitable garbage container must be made of sturdy materials that will allow it to withstand weathering. A tightly fitted cover is also necessary to keep out water and stray animals. Do your part. Keep your surroundings clean. Store household garbage in a suitable garbage container. For more tips on proper waste packaging, please visit DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Your weather update after 8 is brought to you by Brand Source Home Gallery, creating elegant bathrooms with European-style fixtures and fittings.
When it comes to designing a kitchen or a bath, functionality and style should be at the center of your design. Declutter, improve lighting, change cabinets, increase storage, and show your style with the help from experts at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 20% on the finest cabinets and fixtures this July for Kitchen and Bath Month at Brand Source. The design team can help create the perfect personal spa retreat and help design your functional kitchen, whether designing from scratch or renovating your home. Stop by Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, to save 20% on kitchen and bath cabinets and fixtures.
Good morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 80%. Barometric pressure 29.97 inches and rising. The wind is out of the northeast at 4 knots. Overnight low temperature was 81 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers along with light northeasterly winds and slight seas are expected over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as a weak ridge extends over the northwest Caribbean. A tropical wave over Jamaica will move through the Cayman area later tonight, increasing our chances of showers. Radar images show isolated showers in the Cayman area moving west to southwest. Forecast for today and tonight for the Cayman Islands, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the low 90s today and fall to the upper 70s tonight. Winds will be east to southeast, 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Low tide will occur this morning at 5 minutes past 11, high tide this evening at 6:01. The sun will set this evening at 4 minutes after 7, and the sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:59. And the outlook is calling for a decrease in showers from tomorrow morning as a tropical wave moves west of the Cayman area.
Your weather update after 8 is brought to you by Brand Source Home Gallery, creating elegant bathrooms with European-style fixtures and fittings.
Good morning. Once again, time for your traffic check. Steady traffic on the Lindbergh-Pearson Highway. Please follow all road markings. Further up on Shamrock Road, traffic flowing moderately. Light to moderate traffic flow from the West Bay four-way stop. On Oil Roberts Drive, pretty light traffic. And steady traffic heading to Georgetown on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz. And from Georgetown heading to West Bay, traffic is moderate. And steady but flowing traffic on Shedden Road in and out of Georgetown. On North Sound Road, traffic looking moderately, as well as the Esterly Tibbetts Highway. Little steady traffic there. And moderate flow of traffic in some sections of Cool Road, other section busy traffic. And further down on Cool Road, steady but flowing traffic. Traffic is steady coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, Huldah Avenue, steady but flowing traffic. Moderate flow of traffic on Elkin Avenue and Thomas Russell Avenue. Godfrey Dixon Way not looking too bad as traffic is moderate in both directions, and light to moderate traffic flow on Eastern Avenue. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll update you on your traffic. Have a good morning and drive safe, Cayman Islands.
Local sports, the Department of Sports summer camps are usually quite safe to send your kids to, but some parents may take comfort a little too far when they drop their underage child off thinking it's all right. One coach says it's not a babysitting camp. The DOS football camps are for ages 7 through 16, and the main focus is to learn the basic fundamentals of the sport. But with parents sending kids younger than 7, it becomes a babysitting camp and disrupts the process. Camp director for the Georgetown football camp, Coach Gilly Seymour, is not having it.
A few comes because it's a babysitting thing, indirectly, for some parents. But I don't support that babysitting thing. If you need a babysitting camp, you go to a babysitting camp. This is a football camp. And in the football camp, you must learn something about the football game. My camp cannot run where the kids just come in and I mind them, chase them around, give them water all day.
The camp continues today at the Annex Playing Field from 8:30 a.m. until noon. In international sports and cricket news, left-arm spinner Keshav Maharaj picked up 3 wickets after lunch as South Africa made an impact in the afternoon session on day 1 of the second test match against Sri Lanka in Colombo today. Sri Lanka were 168 for 3 at tea, having opted to bat first. After a wicketless first session, both Sri Lankan openers posted half-centuries, and it looked as if the Proteas were in for a long toil. But then Maharaj struck in successive overs to bring South Africa back into the game.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you.
This July at Kirk Home Center, start your summer renovations with Skills Circular Saw for $87.49. Stack and organize clothes, shoes, and home decor with Supreme's adjustable shelving units starting at $21.30. Get your green thumb going with a gardening window box perfect for growing herbs for $8.99. And get rid of weeds with 1 gallon of lawn weed killer concentrate for $19.99.
Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Initiating system.
For information that matter, For the Record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Leader of the Opposition and MLA, Mr. D. Ezzard Miller. Also with us, MLA, Mr. Arden McLean. We have one caller going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. We lost that caller, so let's switch to a WhatsApp message that we received. It says, good morning. Please ask the Honorable Mr. Miller, can anyone get the affordable houses that government builds, or are the houses only for Caymanians and naturalized Caymanians?
They can take out that thing about naturalized Cayman.
I was going to say that, but that's a different story. That's a different story altogether. Not for those with only Caymanian status. So we may have to clarify that because this person has, and say and why people that drink and smoke allowed more duty free than those that don't, for they can bring back home liquor. Tobacco free on top of the $350 that they're allowed. So let's go to the first one. First of all, this distinction between there's no such thing as a naturalized Caymanian. You can be a naturalized British Overseas Territories citizen
and Big Brother Cayman,
but there's no such thing as a naturalized Caymanian.
People need to understand that naturalization does not belong to us.
Yes.
That is English. Yeah. Caymanian is Caymanian. By virtue of my connection here, I am naturalized. And those who get status by virtue of grant, they have to be naturalized to become an overseas territory. That's where their connection comes then to become an English citizen.
Yeah.
And then you need to register. They brought that back in now, see that you need to have a registration as a British citizen, and only then can you get your British passport. Before it used to be naturalization, you could get it.
But in essence, the person has an idea, and I believe I know where they're coming from, because when you look at Caymanian status, if you didn't have it by right, in terms of either by birth, right, or through descent, right? Then the only process, those that get it now on the grounds of residency, on the grounds of being married to a Caymanian, would normally, if Cayman status was a citizenship, they would normally have to be naturalized into that process.
Right.
If but that would have, ideal situation,
that would have happened immediately, like how it does in America. When you go and do that oath, you're automatically naturalized. Yes. But because we don't have a citizenship, the citizenship belongs to England
under the BNA and naturalization process and registration process.
And the English got complicated things.
Okay, and on the other part about the duty free, many people, especially those persons who are with a religious leaning or simply are don't advocate drinking and smoke and feel that the deck is stacked against those persons who don't bring in alcohol and tobacco when it comes to the duty allowance.
It is because of the decreasing value of the totality of $350. Because we set that way back, I think it was in the 80s or early 90s, right? Yeah. And Mr. McLean and I have carried out at least 2 motions, maybe 3, asking it to be doubled, right? So what the people are now saying is that the $350 need to be increased. That's what really needs to be done to help our Cayman people, especially single mothers and stuff who take one little trip off the island once a year and all that. So they're now saying, well, people who, because in addition to the $350, you can bring 1 liter of spirits, alcohol or whiskey or whatever it is. You can bring 2 bottles of wine, I think it is, or 1 bottle of wine, and one cartoon, as we used to call them, of cigarettes, right? Yes. Or 25 cigars or so much tobacco, right? That because the people who drink and consume tobacco, right, and they can bring that in addition to, they believe that it should be, if you're not going to increase the $350, or you increase it, but the duty-free allowances on the tobacco and alcohol should be part of the $350.
Okay.
That's how they're packaging it now. But the real issue is that the $350 needs to be. I can tell you that when I was done, if you went into, well, it wasn't Walmart them days, Kmart, you couldn't bring out the amount of stuff that $350 could buy. Right? You go in places today, you can bring it out in one hand what $350 can buy. So we have advocated, Mr. McLean and I, for several years that it be doubled to $700. Right? The government has always come up with excuses about how much revenue they're going to lose out of it and all that kind of stuff. But it's just not, not augment the whole water.
Now, can we go to the houses, because that was the first one that was raised as well. I would imagine that persons with permanent residence who acquire permanent residence would not necessarily qualify for the government house, because they already have to have evidence of property in order to qualify, part of the qualifying process to obtain residency.
Right. So it should be outside. It should be outside of their reach because they have already done that.
Right.
Or unnecessary for them to get these houses. I can double check with Tony though and see if they have extended the. One of the things we do in this country, see, we enfranchise so many people except our own. And I'm not saying that that's in this case, but certainly it will make you wonder, but on this thing about bringing the liquor and stuff, I don't know if this thing was put in place a very, very, very long time ago, and I guess today in today's life, this sin vices that we like to talk about. I understand what people are saying, but I guess there's no equality in democracy.
And I don't advocate.
Maybe they need to change it. I don't know.
I don't advocate making changes to the allowances for tobacco and alcohol. What I advocate, which I believe the people really want, is to increase the $350 to $700. I think that you wouldn't have any complaints at all, right?
But you know the irony of that. I was just in Europe for 2 weeks, up in England. Went over to the continent and come back, and then I'm asking me, well, that's free trade zone too. Yes, yeah. But coming from here, going to England, I didn't even have to fill out anything because even though it was foreign, coming from foreign,
you have the customs union there.
And you just go straight through.
That's a big part of the Brexit problem now in the negotiations in relation to
that. Well, that's going to be the Achilles heel for Brexit. Mm-hmm. That's free trade. Okay. That's going to cause some problems.
Yeah, we have one caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
good morning.
Morning. How are you, sir?
Morning.
Nice to hear the three of you on there.
Really?
You sure not know?
I remember that we introduced subsidies to various industries when there was a so-called downturn in the economy. And we now have out-of-control growth continuing again. And yet still, the subsidy rates that are in place have not been put back to where they should. Because government is saying they don't have money for our children, but yet still they can subsidize billionaires. And when they say they're going to do this or that, and this is going to be the result of this subsidy and that subsidy that you pay, then there's no tracking of have they delivered on what they said they were going to do. So it's a two-part question/statement. Would you support that the rates that were reduced on various things during the so-called recession put back to where they need to be so that development will once again begin to sort of pay its way, I say, so that we don't see increases in government fees in order for government to function coming down on the so-called little people. And I would like to find out if you would support that in the Legislative Assembly and move the necessary motion, legislation.
Well, we've done all of that. My concern about, particularly for developers of hotels and stuff, is what is happening now is far too arbitrary and is based on what the developer can negotiate, and each person that comes in seems to be able to get more and more and more and more. We need to go back to the hotel aids law, and we need to establish, if we need to review the concessions and reduction in fees that are in that law, then we should review them, but it should be set up in statute, and it should be able to monitor it. Because what we're doing now is giving these carte blanche relief of government duties and infrastructure fees and planning fees and all that sorts of stuff. And there's no rhyme or reason for it. You cannot go to government tomorrow and say, if I want to invest $1 million in Northside, what concessions would you get? Or if I want to invest $100 million in Northside, what concessions would you get? So I support fixing the hotel aids. I don't think it needs to be done in that, because I think we need another hotel in this country now, like we need a hole in the head.
Well, and I fully agree with you, because, for every hotel you're adding cheap labor. And cheap labor
and of high magnitude.
Pardon?
Bele.
No, I just wanted to hear that last comment from Mr.
I say, and you're adding of high magnitude. You're not talking about 20 to 30 people. You're talking about 600-700.
Correct. So good. Oh, yes, Mr. Arden.
Yeah.
Mr. McLean, sorry.
One of our biggest problem in this country, we believe in Reaganomics, the trickle-down effect, and it doesn't happen, okay? And we are told by those who would control us that if we do this, people are going to get work. People get work, but they're not our people. They have to bring them in because the development is so large they can't accommodate the human capital here. Okay? Now, my position has always been that in all instances, the developer will tell you we need the capital up front to get this project done. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. So if you give me the concession, I'll get the project done. Great. Here is the hotels law allows up to 50% of concessions. I believe that we need to do 25% concession. The 75% out of the other 75% is deferred. On the payment is deferred to government. Once that development has finished, if it's apartment, we're putting a lien on a number of those apartments just in case you default. We're putting a lien on them. You can't transfer them until that 75% has been paid. And there is, if you can do it up front, fine. There is a 10-year period where you're going to have to pay that into our revenues, okay? Now, what that does, it says we know exactly how much revenue we're getting off of those. That's fixed revenue. Failing that, we're putting a lien on your property. That's you cannot operate a country giving certain people 100% concession, and then when another developer come in, he uses that to say, well, you gave it to him, I'm expecting it too. The country cannot run like that. You know what the governor, the one that has been withdrawn, I had a conversation with him, and he said to me, why are you guys selling your properties? I said, what do you mean? That's people's choice. He said, but there are other ways that you can deal with this. You need to educate your people that instead of selling it and someone wants to develop it, they get their equity in it and keep it forever. If it's 100 apartments can go there and it is 5 of those that valued the value of the property, then they get 5 apartments and they leave them for their children.
Okay.
And I agree with him. There's no more need to try to get investment here. It is here. We need to look at it more comprehensively.
We're going to ask that caller to leave us there. We have 2 more calls on hold. We're going to ask those callers to just hang in there. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we return, we will take those 2 calls.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Not all insurance is created equal, but who has the time to shop around? Take the guesswork out of your insurance coverage with Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Let us match you with the best coverage to suit your needs at a price to suit your wallet. Plus, get superior customer service from dedicated claims professionals to ensure speedy claims processing. Get your insurance through Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
Enjoy dining by the sea in the relaxed, tranquil atmosphere with local food specials every day and karaoke every Saturday night with Cayman Elvis.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
Did you hear that Vant Motors has your sale going on now? And you get your choice on the money you'll save on your new car or truck?
My sale? My choice? Really?
Yeah! And they have lots of cars on sale. Some up to $7,000 off.
Sounds pretty good.
It gets even better. You can choose to take the full discount or you can get some or all of it as cash back.
Extra cash back would be great.
Exactly! And you can even use the savings to extend your warranty or service plan so you'll drive worry-free for years longer.
Another good idea.
If you want to upgrade with something like a new roof rack or backup camera, you can choose that too.
Wow, I get to choose?
Yeah, that's why it's your sale, your choice. Going on now at Vant Motors on Walkers Road, while stocks last.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record, with your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Leader of the Opposition and MLA Mr. Ezzard Miller and MLA Mr. Arden McLean. As promised, we're going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Thanks for being so patient.
Good
morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Mr. Miller and Mr. Arden. This is Paul Holston.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cap.
Hope everything is well with you, sir.
Oh, couldn't be better.
You be hearing yourself?
At my age, what can I do? I just was reading in the Compass this morning about this boardwalk up in South Sound where they have to drill drains. If it hadn't rained a couple of weeks ago, a little rain, they would never know
realize
that.
It.
I wonder which engineer designed that. My God, as stupid as I am, I could have told them so much more about that. Because the water table up there is right onset, is so high. Salt water, fresh water floats on salt water. Fresh water is 1,000 density. Salt water is 1,025. The fresh water do not pass through this. The salt water it can't. It's lighter, and it would be so simple to put culverts. When Mr. Astor the Tibet was many years ago, he had that much knowledge to put culverts and right on where they cast that cement. They put an 8-inch or 10-inch pipe across 6 feet long or the width of it, and the water would drain right out there. But they had to go to this expense to drill all these wells, and in my stupid opinion, it's not going to work.
But Cam Paul, you remember when we were having problems there in the swamp? Well, there were, Randa Garden. You remember what we did?
The culverts?
We went out there and put in some of those 4 foot, I believe. I believe they were 4 foot or 6 foot.
Probably 6. They were pretty
culverts under the road and drain it into South Sound. You remember that? Same system. Just drain it out. And the other thing, Captain Paul, you see them roads that I developed there. One of the problems I had with those people who were environmentalists, I wanted to drill the wells down 200 feet and grout them down to 100, 150 feet so the water couldn't back up alongside them. And they were saying they were going to damage the aquifer. Well, down at 200 feet, that can only be solved. But the fact that you go down deeper and grout them properly, the water will drain in those.
Osmosis effect of the
absolutely.
Go ahead, Captain Paul.
It will drain until it's full. But Mr. McLean water, as I said again, salt water is 1,000 ounces. Fresh water is 1,000 ounces, and salt water is 1,000. It's heavier. Oil is lighter. Again, that's why oil floats in the water. The salt water, fresh water cannot penetrate the salt water. You go down and around the Amazon and all Guyana and Suriname about there. You find 50, 60 miles out there where the fresh water, the water is dirty, where the fresh water flows out the place there. It is. I better get off of this one.
You're right, but we have lost the use of good Cayman common sense, Captain Paul.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yep.
Because that whole boardwalk thing, there's a total waste of money.
It's a waste of money, but you know what it's for. And they got so move the ramp because they don't want those people to be cleaning fish and all that.
The idea, I think the idea of a boardwalk in that area is a good idea. Now, how it is constructed is another thing. But I think that it is a good idea to have a boardwalk.
Well, let me defend it. Yeah. I might not be able to defend the method they use. But when I was minister, one of the things I wanted to do was turn the road over, flip it side by side.
Yeah.
So that we could have angle parking out there, and we were going to do a boardwalk, but it would just be a sidewalk, and then you could have angle parking. Okay. You see, and so to accommodate walkers in South Sound because we have had more deaths up there than
Captain Paul. We're going to ask you to leave. We're going to ask you to leave us there, Captain Paul. We're going to take the other caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you all doing?
Fine. Morning. How are you?
Morning.
Good, thank you. I'll just ask 2 quick questions. We hear a lot about big projects, boardwalks and straightening tires and all those good things. But 2 things that I think are very much needed and overlooked. And I think both are simple fixes. One is that we say that literacy is our biggest problem facing our young people, which leads, of course, to unemployment, crime, other issues. So I wonder when or if there's going to be a focus on providing literacy enhancement services in the school libraries, the high school libraries, which are pretty much non-existent, as well as even on the summers, kids should have reading lists. There should be some attempt at summer school to help those that need help. So that is a general question. The other specific question I posed to, I think, both MLAs before, and it affects pretty much every Caymanian family, occasionally, which is, when are we going to renegotiate or maybe just send one email to request a reciprocal agreement to Jamaica with their Cayman visa arrangement, since we have given them extended visa, multiple visa, no visa for children and elderly, but every Caymanian that needs to go to Jamaica to get a visa or for medical or whatever reason still has to pay the same old fine. Mm-hmm. So I wonder when that will be regularized. And also, I know Mr. Miller especially has been focusing on yields and all those things, which is good. That's part of, youth development. But literacy is a major crisis. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much.
Just to answer the literacy thing, today I have children in a camp Northside and the library in Northside is being very helpful in assisting them. Today they are going over to register for their summer reading. So the programs exist, and the librarian up there, and they also started a program 3, maybe 4 months ago, where they go around to the senior citizen houses now and provide them with books to read and all that. So there are programs in place. It is for the representatives in those areas to access these things.
I don't know if it's for the representatives, as it's about parenting.
Okay.
These programs are all there. Now, I'm not saying anything is perfect. Mm-hmm. I am looking forward to seeing, 1, this minister, 2, Dan Scott, and all like people like Cindy and Darrell Rankin and all them on that education council. I want to see that turn into an authority and people held accountable. Teachers, principals, and if you can't cut the mustard, you need to cut your way to the door. Mm-hmm. Our children should not be in the situation they're in, but I must tell you, and I must tell my people in this country, my father used to say there's no such thing as a bad child. It's bad parenting, and he was not going to be found guilty for bad parenting.
On the issue of the visas, I don't think that there is any incentive on the part of the Jamaican government to change what is in place now, because it is a revenue earner for them. Only recently,
but you can get multiple year visas, but you still pay for it. Yeah.
Only recently did the Jamaican government waive the visa requirements for another country. I believe I stand to be corrected, but it may be China or somewhere. But they just waived the visa requirements for another country. We are their neighbors. We have historical connections with them. We do know that they were aggrieved when we imposed the visa. We started it when we imposed it. We know that they were aggrieved by it, but now it is a revenue earner for them.
For both,
and for them to give it up is going to be extremely difficult. Despite what we may do here in the Cayman Islands to mitigate against those Jamaicans who require visas to come to the Cayman Islands, because we have put several things in place in terms of the age requirements and stuff like that makes it slightly easier for persons to get the visa.
I must tell you, and I'm going to be very frank, very straight up. The requirements of reciprocity doesn't bother me. If we can't find it, we don't go. What concerns me is who's coming in here from Jamaica. And that should concern every citizen of this country. That is serious. And until we, as a country, until we pressure the government to put systems in place that interact with Interpol so that we know exactly who's coming here from Jamaica. Because
you didn't listen to For the Record recently, because when we had Mr. Harris on here recently, he talked about that, and those are the things that are being worked on now, where every deportee, we will have access to that information in terms of all the deportations. And
from where?
Else. From all countries.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, that's what he said.
Listen to me. Yes. It didn't happen before. It's not going to happen now.
He did point out that there are certain structures that we are putting in place, that we have in place now, that will demonstrate to those countries that we have the ability to deal with those issues. Well, I want to
see what it is, because you and I sat in cabinet.
Only on Monday.
I sat in cabinet for 4 years. Mm-hmm. We approve hundreds of thousands of dollars to get fingerprint. What do you call it? It's fingerprint, but it's called biometric machines. And they are still in the closet at Immigration Department. They have become obsolete years ago.
Yeah, they're no good now.
Listen to me, OC. Until we control the borders of this country, I hear them say they're putting Chuck in charge the new thing. For whatever it is worth, we need to control it. And OC, I don't just talk so. Mm-hmm. This is serious matter. Forget about the visas for a minute. Our life is going to be a living hell in this country soon.
Okay, we have to go to commercial break now, folks. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Can you explain what a less than container load is for shipment and what your minimum charge is?
Sure. A less than container load, or LCL, is any overseas shipment that does not require the full space of a container. At Seaboard, we have great rates for small packages. Just let us know the dimensions of your package and we'll help you out from there.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Optical Outlook is so wicked.
They're brilliant. Tremendous.
So hot. They're awesome.
Yo, them cool.
They're sweet.
Just ice, mate.
I love them like cooked food.
Head to Optical Outlook and find many designer brands for men and women. Sun safety and eye health care never look so good. They'll be able to help you find the best fit for your face and budget. Call 746-2020 and book your eye exam today. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the Record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have one message that I've received as well. It says, good morning, Mr. OC, MLA, Mr. McLean, and Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Miller. Happy Friday. I'm asking for advice regarding DEH concerning the dumping taken away of my garbage bin, and now since yesterday another lid, which altogether they've lost 2 covers for their garbage bin. It says just 5 years at this residence and the above have been taken away. I can no longer shake my head and act as though I have money to keep replacing my personal items. This has got to stop. I need my items back as soon as possible. I do not have anything to put over my bin now, which will be an inconvenience to me and a possible other homeowners when invited guests come around to dig out the garbage. Very frustrated homeowner. So this one has lost the covers for their garbage bin. There are some, Mr. And you would be familiar with this, Mr. McLean, and I'll ask it, and then we have two callers, so we'll go to the callers. You can answer it after. But there are some jurisdictions where there is a standardized garbage bin that is used for each residence. Isn't that something that we need to look at here? We allow people to build. They build the wooden ones, various ones, but standardized garbage bins. And if anything, government should bring them in, not create a business for someone else because. But to allow them to bring them in.
The only problem with that is we don't have the trucks. There are special trucks equipped to dump those types of garbage.
Yeah, but I've seen some hand ones as well. Yeah. And like in South Carolina, everywhere when I cycle through South Carolina, every home that it's the same type. It's the same type of garbage.
And they should only buy garbage containers that the cover is attached to, not someplace. Yeah. But before we take those callers, I want to raise one other matter.
Very quickly.
During the last sitting of the Legislative Assembly, Mr. McLean and I, to a lesser extent, in debating the amendments to the immigration bill, raised some serious concerns. He had, which I agree with him on, the issuing of this 25-year work permit. And the reason I want to raise it here this morning is because I had a report through the EIU that one of these 25-year holders was overheard at a restaurant berating Mr. McLean and myself. And that, we were nobody and wasn't even sure what our names were. And we were just members of the opposition and we could do nothing about it because their attorneys, Mr. Nick Joseph and Mr. Hugh Moses, had assured them that don't worry about it. They got the permit for them. They're secure. The government supports them having the permit. And the government is not going to do anything that me and Mr. McLean asked them to do. I just want the public to remember what Mr. McLean, as I recall, specifically asked for, and that's why he's here, he can confirm it, is we have asked the government to investigate these 25-year work permits. And when you find one bank that has 5, right, you have to be concerned about how they got them. And the government is supposed to investigate these and report back to the Legislative Assembly whether these people got these legitimately and whether they fit the criteria. And our recommendation is that those who do not fit the criteria, that they should be revoked. Because, the point I want to make is that these people come here, we allow them, we don't allow them, but they take advantage of perceived loopholes in the law, right? And then they boast and brag about it and berate the duly elected people of the country.
Okay.
We've got to do something about this.
We have 4 callers. We have about 7 minutes before we go to headline news. We're going to try to accommodate 2 calls before we're going to ask the other 2 to hold on. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Am I on air?
Yes, you are, Billy. Go right ahead.
Yes. Thanks very much. It was very interesting this morning to hear, I think it was McLean. Good morning to everybody, by the way. To talk about the trickle-down economics. You see, the trickle-down economics is part of a larger issue of basically what some philosophers have called cultural hegemony. Okay, which they define to say this is the domination, I'm reading from somewhere, of a rule maintained through ideological and cultural means. It is usually achieved through social institutions which allow those people in power to
read the same article, sir.
Exactly, influences the norms and expectations. So in other words, basically, you get some people who formulate these ideas and they say, you know what? The way we are doing things is good for all of you.
Yeah.
Right.
And yet, actually, it's not good for all of you, but you become so convinced that it's good for you that when you fail, they will say, no, it's because you haven't worked hard enough, and that it is because the system has failed you.
That's right.
And some of the examples of this are, look at, for example, the issue of beach access. Beach access should have been resolved a long time ago, but somebody, I believe, I don't have evidence, has told the government that, look, if you grant me these beach accesses and you have them registered, it's going to stifle development, and then there will be no jobs, and there will be a problem. And yet you can always deal with all the competing interests in a more fair way. And one of my biggest disappointments regarding that is the Premier, a man I respect a lot. One time he said, I think last few weeks in the Legislative Assembly, he said, well, those of you who are complaining about, jobs and how Caymanians are being sidelined, you should remember how it used to be, So in other words, he is saying that the developments that have taken place are entirely due to the foreign people who have come here. I'm a foreigner, but I know that that's wrong. I believe that the Caymanians are the ones who conceived this idea. They brought in people from outside to help them realize the idea, and that is why there's success. And yet the Premier is drinking the same Kool-Aid and saying, no. You see, if your daughter can't find a job, effectively, he's saying your daughter can't find a job because it's gone to somebody else, when your daughter could do the job. Just wait a little bit, be patient, because it could be worse. And I think that's the problem.
Belair, and I want you to stay on. Belair, you see what our Premier did the other day? Gets up on the floor of the Legislative Assembly when I was ranting, raving about this thing about acknowledgement letter, and talks about how his son had to do it. Listen to me, that's what caused these people to do what they want with us and control and manipulate the minds of our people, because some of us acquiesce to everything. He can count back 10 generations in this country, and he allowed them, Maples them, to make his son go and get an acknowledgement from Immigration Department who has nothing to do with the registration of that child.
Okay. Caller, we're going to ask you to leave us there. We're going to take one more caller before we go to the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning again. Sorry to call back, but I think I had to clarify my question just now. I was referring not to the public libraries, which are doing a great job, but I specifically said the school libraries, which are almost non-existent. And I say that because for at least the last year, the government high schools have had no librarians in the two high schools. There are no computers. There's very little resources there, and yet we talk about literacy being a problem.
We say the schools are proper resourced. Right.
But regardless of the terminology, the fact is we need to help our children with literacy. The schools need properly staffed and equipped libraries. And I just wanted to make that point because, as I said, the public libraries are doing a good job.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for that. We won't be able to accommodate the other caller, but very quickly I can summarize what one writer has sent in, and they're encouraging people to get actively involved in recycle, reuse, and repurpose. They say that they're doing it, and they're trying to encourage their neighbors to do it as well. The other point was that as far as derelict vehicles are concerned, that they have overheard other people telling other vehicle owners to basically just, because of the reprocessing fee that you pay on a vehicle, that they should just simply leave their cars, when they pull the license plates off and stuff like that, leave their cars parked there and let the government.
Yeah, but also every car in this country is registered by a VIN number. Yes. Exactly. And we need to charge people for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you talk about the 3 hours, the 4 hours.
3.
That's not new.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you and I were growing up, we reuse everything.
Yeah.
We repurpose everything.
Right. Well, that's what that's what this person is. They're simply advocating the same thing now. We're going to take a break now. We're going to go to headline news. When we return, For the Record, we'll continue.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A local police constable teams up with the National Roads Authority to enhance public safety by improving road markings and traffic signage on the waterfront in central Georgetown. Over the last couple of months, they've painted signs, chevrons, double yellow lines, and brightened the stop marks throughout central Georgetown. A top security aide for French President Emmanuel Macron caught on camera beating a protester has been detained and is being questioned by authorities, while the president's office has begun the process of firing him following a public backlash. The fast-moving events followed a day of fierce criticism after the newspaper Le Monde identified Alexandre Benalla as the man wearing a police helmet and beating a young protester on May Day. Questions about whether Macron's cohorts are above the law were virulently raised by Parliament on Thursday. And cheered on by a handful of activists, Liberal House Democrats announced outside the Capitol they were forming a caucus to push for Medicare for All, shorthand for government-financed health care. At the same time, on Thursday, Democratic senators were introducing a resolution aimed at putting Republicans on the defensive about Trump administration efforts to undermine former U.S. President Barack Obama's health care law. Those are your headlines. I'm Kersley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
And welcome back to For the Record. I think we lost the last two callers that we had, but we encouraged them to please call back. We realized that the two guests that we have in the studio there are in such great demand. Everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone wants to express their views, and as a result of that, we get the phone lines backed up. So we're going to pass the mic back over to you. There's something that I want to talk about, but hopefully I will be able to do it before the end of the show. And if not, I'm sure that Mr. Billy Adam would be interested in this article. And it was in the Barbados, the Nation News, Barbados newspaper yesterday, Thursday, the 19th of July. And it's entitled Barbados Lacking Behind Regional Neighbors in Planning Law. And it goes on to talk about, it says Barbados is lacking behind the rest of the Caribbean in terms of innovations in planning law, and the time has come to move ahead. The assertion from planner and attorney at law Christine Toppin Alahar was made during a recent stakeholders consultation which brought together professionals who interacted with their town planning system to discuss the modernization of the town and country planning. And then it goes on to talk about Grenada. It says in St. Lucia, for example, she said there was legislation which states that a simple application to build a dwelling house or renovate or extensions to a dwelling house, if not approved or refused within the statutory time limit of 2 months, was deemed to be approved rather than refused. In Trinidad, she pointed out legislation provided for registered professionals to certify the plans conform to the planning and building standards so that liability for certifying compliance was transferred to registered professionals. And there's another part in there that actually mentions the Cayman Islands and several other jurisdictions, and I'm trying to find that. But until I find that, let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
And good morning to the panel. Hi, guys.
Morning.
Okay,
They don't sound too cheery. I cheer them up, caller.
I got it. Arden, honey.
Yeah.
I want to get my time in front. Oh, she'll have to cut me off, okay?
Okay. That's between you and him. I ain't gonna get him.
Answer all of my questions when I'm finished, okay? So, morning. I just want to know if the garbage pickup going to go back into 2 days a week. That's the question. And don't care what system we put in with this garbage. It ain't going to get no better because we, the people of these islands, need to be more cleaner and organized with our garbage for our men to come out here and pick up. So it's us that have to help keep the garbage in control for when the truck comes. What I would like to see, Arden, is we keeping our garbage in our backyards, and the days the trucks will come in to bring it forward, because then we drive through South Sound. Very few of those homes has a garbage bin up front their yard, waiting for out there displayed on a daily basis. They take it back and forth to the back of their home. But I just want to say that I noticed that the Water Authority has increased their water rate, Arden. And last month when I was talking about water on the radio, you say that you can't see why we having such water problem on the island and how people's water bills are being so high and so forth, and we got new washers. Well, let me tell you something. I got one of them new washers, and not that I wanted it, but I had no choice but to buy it. The water that come in those washers to wash your clothes, Arden, you can go to Jamaica River and wash your clothes all day long and get your clothes a lot cleaner than what these HE washers are doing for us. I just want to say that our electricity is always climbing. Our water bill is going up. People cannot afford this to the water. And I say, I don't care how many freshwater wells we got up there in East End. Who's going to go up there with a bucket and walk back home with a bucket of water? We got elder people here in this island who need water desperately to drink on a regular basis, and our children that now they're out of school. Arden, you can refresh me. You mentioned something about the teachers in school and so forth. Can you hit me on that so I can say what I want to say?
What about? No.
Just refresh his memory.
The school, he was talking about the schools a while ago, and the children in school, and they're not doing their job,
he was talking about parenting,
no, I was talking about, I think specifically she's talking about me saying that I want to see the education system on authority and the board and the teachers and the principals accountable for the education of the school.
Was that it, caller? Was that it?
I agree with you, Arden, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care where we get our teachers from. And when we bring them here, I don't know what kind of scrutiny they go under before they come to our island and teach our children. But we have to remember that we got children here who go to school and disturb the class all day long. We can't blame the teachers. We got to blame the parents and the faculty and the teachers and the principal give these kids letters to take home, and they're not going home. You know how many have taken out of the garbage at John Gray High School? Numbers of letters that go home to the parents. But
the opposite, Jan, is also true. I have a little grandniece who was disturbing the school and the whole class. And my nephew went and tested that child in the States and here with doctors. And you know what they found out? She's a genius. So the opposite is also true. And but they can't handle her there. So the doctors recommended that she jump 2 classes. She's 5 years old. And they can't do that. We don't have an accommodation here. And what we do is diagnose these kids with ADDH and ADD and PPP and what have you. We were the same thing when we were growing up, We just needed somewhere to let out that energy.
Okay, caller, we're going to ask you to leave us there. We have 3 more callers, I believe. And we're going to ask everyone to be as brief as possible because we are rapidly running out of time. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, Oseen. Good morning to Arden. Good morning, Mr. Ezzard.
Good morning. What this is because you and him, friends, you put hand to his name, now putting none to mine.
I love you. I love you, Arden.
All right, old boy. You too.
Anyway, these things that she called in about electric going up, this going up, and that. I called in the other day talking about this so-called off-reg, whatever that is. When I see, and you guys must have seen it in the paper, the amount of money that this guy spent when he was there, I think his term is up now, he's leaving. This, whatever his name was, J.P. Morgan. And I said, when they started this thing, I said, you watch what's going to happen about this off-reg. Have we seen electricity drop 1 penny? Have we seen gas prices drop 1 penny? They have done nothing since they've been organized. Now, what I'm saying is this: we need people in government who are going to question when they see these people in doing what they're supposed to be doing. You ask them, why hasn't something happened? You've been here so long and you haven't done anything. Another thing I'm going to say briefly is this: I reported a house down in West Bay that is they got a foundation that's 2 feet something from the edge of the road. I called planning. I told them about it. They built half of the thing, a little one of them little square boxes, I don't know who it is, and got it rented, or somebody's living in there. But that foundation hasn't been moved. Now, these are the things that governor that was here talked about, that we got to start doing something. We need to get in and kick some whatever, because people are doing it, and nobody seems to care. The authorities up there don't seem to care, and this island is going down gradually. Oh, God help us. I'm telling you, gentlemen, I depend on you to get out there and investigate some of this stuff.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Is that me, Mr. Ossie?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Oh, I'm very thankful and highly blessed and jerking my fingers clearly.
There you go.
And Mr. Arden?
Yes, ma'am.
I love to hear you too, On the radio.
I like hearing you too. I can tell you that it refreshes me when I can hear that West Bay and that East End and that Georgetown accent, and we don't have an accent here.
Mr. Arden, and I talk a little bit slow today. You hear me?
Go right ahead, ma'am. Go right ahead.
I'm talking a little bit slow today. I want to really talk concerning Cynical. But it can be so long that I'm going to leave my number. I know Mr. Miller has it.
Yep.
I'm going to leave my number for the 2 of your guests there, for them to give me a call, and I can tell them all the evidence to say right now, because I have said it so much already that it's sounding like a broken record over the air.
Just for my edification, you having more difficulties with them again?
More than ever.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much, caller. They will get your number. One more call. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Nice to hear your voice. Haven't heard it in quite a while.
Yes, sir. Good morning to the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Ezzard Miller. Good morning to Emily East and Mr. McLean. It's always good to hear you both on there. I just like to say an answer to my good friend, Mr. Ackerman. thought, and I know it's repetitive, boring, tedious, but I will say this, and I've said it before, from nearly 20 years ago in talks was started. You will not be able to arrive at any sort of consumer protection or price control in a country that does not have some form of direct income tax. I don't see it possible. I also said you will not be able to enforce the minimum wage law because of the same reason. There are lots of things when this is implemented, whether it's by choice or the British government, Her Majesty's government forces us to do so, you will see a lot of change in many things in the economy and the plight of our people. Trust me, that's my belief. The other thing is this. I know I've asked this question before. Let's ask it again. Hang up. Our passport, of course, says that this passport remains the property of the Crown. The Crown at all times. Also, the British passport for British-born citizens who have no connection with the Caribbean or anywhere else but the Kingdom, because I have read them recently. They say the same thing, the exact same thing. Doesn't speak of any government. It doesn't speak of any country. It says this passport remains the property of the Crown. So therefore, as far as I can understand, a passport shows where you're a citizen and what you're a citizen of and who you belong to. Any passport I've ever seen in my life, that's what it does say. So it makes you a citizen of whatever. So we're common citizens in my view. But the question I'd like to ask is, if our passport is under the ownership or belongs to, whatever nomenclature or terminology you want to use, why is it that British citizens can go to the United States with the same passport saying the same thing, and we, without a visa, a U.S. visa, and we have to get a visa? Immigration officers in the U.S. have asked me this from 45 or more years ago. Why it doesn't our government ask the U.S., and this was before this new type of heading came about, to allow us to come in there without a visa, or, we know about the one entry visa and so forth. But I'm talking about a multi-entry visa, as all British citizens have, with the same wording on their passport, as I said.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. I don't think that what it says in the passport has any determination of that whatsoever. It depends on the negotiations that you and the results that you arrive at when negotiating with any country in terms of the movement of your people. But we have to take a commercial break. When we return, we will continue to talk about that, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know that recycling collection containers are located island-wide on Grand Cayman? The Department of Environmental Health's program is an integral part of DEH's waste management responsibility in the Cayman Islands. Start your recycling program at home today. Put your Type 1 and 2 plastics in appropriate DEH recycling containers at all Foster's supermarkets, Kirk Market, or Hurley's Grand Harbor. Please keep the Cayman Islands clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, go to www.deh.gov.ky.
The Cayman Pharmacy Group provides you with more than just prescriptions. We strive to make your health our concern. We recognize the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care. That is why we offer personalized one-on-one counseling. Our pharmacists are here to assist you with questions you may have about your health and the medications you've been prescribed. With West Bay Pharmacy and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, the Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. We care about your health.
Did you hear that Vant Motors has your sale going on now? And you get your choice on the money you'll save on your new car or truck?
My sale? My choice? Really?
Yeah! And they have lots of cars on sale. Some up to $7,000 off.
Sounds pretty good.
It gets even better. You can choose to take the full discount, or you can get some or all of it as cash back.
Extra cash back would be great.
Exactly! And you can even use the savings to extend your warranty or service plan so you'll drive worry-free for years longer.
Another good idea idea.
If you want to upgrade with something like a new roof rack or backup camera, you can choose that too.
Wow, I get to choose?
Yeah, that's why it's your sale, your choice. Going on now at Vant Motors on Walkers Road, while stocks last.
Initiating system.
For information that matter, for the record, with Orrett Connor, continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Miss Susan, I'm going to ask you to walk me through this one because I think a caller has called in twice or sent a WhatsApp as well. And there was a question in relation to naturalization. Can you repeat that for me, Miss Susan, if possible? What the call? A person married to Caymanian, yes. Why they want to know why they have to be naturalized, yes. If they to get a British passport. Okay. Let me try to quickly explain this one. Again, British Nationality Act comes into effect. First of all, people have to understand that when it comes to nationality, our local legislators and our local legislation has absolutely nothing to do with it. Our immigration law deals with Caymanian status and the acquisition, granting of Caymanian status, nothing to do with nationality. Now, if you, under the British Nationality Act, if you did not acquire British Overseas Territory citizenship by birth or by descent, then in order for you to become a British Overseas Territory citizen, you have to go through the process of naturalization, or in the case of minors, registration. Okay? If you acquire British Overseas Territory citizenship and you then want to become a British citizen, then you have to go through the process of registration to become a British citizen. Now, when in 2001, when they did confer British citizenship on British Overseas Territory citizen, if you were a British Overseas Territory citizen at that point in time, then you did not have to apply for registration. But if you're an individual now who acquires a British Overseas Territory citizenship, in order for you to get British citizenship, you have to apply through the process of registration. So two different things: British Overseas Territory citizenship, British citizenship. Two different processes.
And I think
has nothing to do with whether or not they were born before Jamaica's independence or not. It has nothing to do with that.
I think, we should also point out to people. For instance, you got people from Turks, Bermuda, BVI. They were given citizenship many, many years ago. 2001, 2002. We revert to that. Now, say one of them are living in Cayman, and they stay here, they are here on work permit. They can't come here, there's no free movement. And they come here and they stay here the required time. All they need is Cayman status. They will not need the registration because they already got that. They are already a British subject.
Yes.
So you have to be...
Already British Overseas Territory citizen.
Right, citizen. An English citizen as well. It is that you are from a different country. You are from a different jurisdiction. That's like Mickey talked about us not citizens. The problem with passports and stuff. We need to understand the mean now eminent domain. You own nothing. This is the state that owns you, and we are not citizens of this. We cannot claim citizenship. That has been said 1 million times. Okay. We are not an independent country where we control our own affairs, where we can then be recognized by United Nations and go into bilateral immigration arrangements with other countries. That's what those who are independent and who are republics like America and the rest of the Caribbean, all our Caribbean neighbors, with the exception of the overseas territories, have they all have a representative in the United Nations. And that is the gathering of nations in the world. And that's where you get your bilateral agreements on immigration. That's what Trump has been doing with Mexico and now with Canada. They can afford to do it because they're independent countries.
Okay, I'm going to give you gentlemen an opportunity to wrap up, but I just wanted to continue this article on planning and things. Toppin explained that the United Nations Human Settlement Program has helped the OECS to prepare model legislation, which has subsequently been customized by most of them. In 1992, she shared St. Vincent and the Grenadines had introduced a third-generation planning act, which made specific provisions in respect of environmental impact assessment for the first time in the Caribbean. That was in 1992. We still do not have that in Barbados. It is mentioned en passant in our legislation, but there is no regulation, no transparency, she lamented. She revealed that the legislation in St. Vincent also introduced the concept of an appeals tribunal to hear appeals of planning decisions rather than leaving these decisions up to the political directorate. This is a system Toppin Alahar advised that has not only been adopted within the OECS, but also in other countries, including the Bahamas, Belize, and the Cayman Islands. So there, from an OECS country, Eastern Caribbean, we're getting kudos in relation to, our planning laws, our planning regulations, what we have done here, far above and apart from what some independent countries have done, but yet we complain about our planning laws here, and it still leaves much to be desired. But we have moved forward in many respects. That's what I'm trying to say.
One of the things that we complain about in the Caribbean, all of us, we complain about the influences that England puts on us, the Commonwealth, the jurisprudence. You got to go to England to the appeals, and they're trying to create the Caribbean Court of Appeals, all kinds of stuff. But let's look at our architecture, particularly in our neighboring countries. They have not adopted one for themselves. We here in Cayman are light years ahead of these people. This argument that they are now having, this dialogue, this discussion that they are now having, we had in the 70s, You remember the marches that we had in the middle of Georgetown? About ownership, about taking sand off the beach, about getting planning permission for your homes. We had this in the 70s. They're just realizing it because it was convenient for them to just build up a little house, which it was for us years before that. But now they recognize a house is not necessarily a home where it is, you need to build it to protect your family. That's what we have done. Why do you think we didn't have that much infrastructure damage in this country when Hurricane Ivan? And you will hear 1,000 homes lost in the other countries. It's for that same reason. They have no structure. And yes, sometimes our planning department can be a pain where. But let me tell you something. It is worth it at the end of the day when a natural disaster strikes and you realize that you have a shelter over your head still. All they do is build right back the same type of house after the natural disaster pass and wonder why it blow down next time. We do not do that. And mind you, OC, like you said, there's much to be desired in this country, but it's a work in progress. And whether it is the PPM or UDP or what's this one? This on whole matrimony. That this government is made.
National unity.
Of national unity, it doesn't matter. We all try to get our stuff together so that we can protect those types of things that the infrastructure is protected. No, we don't. What I've learned in politics, OC, is the principles are never opposed. It is the methods used that you oppose, because you may be doing it for certain individuals so they can get their way and stuff like that. But the principles all are good principles.
Yeah, we have one WhatsApp message that we want to cover before we close off the show. Go ahead, Miss Susan.
Hi, good morning, everyone. For you polka lovers, we know that Molly B was here earlier this year in February, and one of her band members, Jeff, works for WDZ 101.9 in Wisconsin. And this coming Sunday, he's going to give a shout out to the Cayman Islands at 9:35 a.m. So if you want to listen in, and he's going to shout out the people of the Cayman Islands because he enjoyed his time here with us. And he will give a shout out at 9:35, and that's WDZ 101.9. And that's for all people in the Cayman Islands. If you want to hear a shout out from Wisconsin, it's Sunday morning at 9:35. Thank you.
Okay, and we will give all of our Radio Cayman listeners permission just to change the dial just for those few seconds to listen to that, and then you switch back to Radio Cayman. Gentlemen, some closing comments before you leave.
But at OC, I had hoped for us to have a little wider discussion on this 25-year work permit, because I have some serious concerns about what seems to be a abuse of the system. And we have to be concerned about this, because 25 years, somebody could born, go to school, qualify to be a CFO. But when we give these 25-year permits, that's no longer a glass ceiling. That's a concrete, steel reinforced ceiling. And nobody is likely to get that job in the future. Mm-hmm. So we have to find a way that if these things are going to happen, they have to be on a very restricted basis. And you certainly can't have people who get them, right, whether through a side door or front on, right, going around in the community bragging about how they got them.
I understand
and berating the people who are questioning whether it's an effective means of attracting talent to the Cayman Islands.
I understand that there's a managing director of a publicly traded company that has been given such a 25-year work permit. But if it's a publicly traded company, then it would beg the question then that everybody who has shares in that may be able to.
It doesn't qualify for LCCL. LCCLs and companies in Cayman don't qualify either.
Yes,
you understand? So LCCL doesn't qualify. The law is very specific. Mm-hmm. But what is happening is that there are people who are manipulating the system, and then they claim that they are the God sent to us, or they grew up here and they want to protect Cayman. Why would we give somebody IT? Because there are specific disciplines that has been carved out in the regulation, and they have gone all the way outside that. And now when I call them out, they try to berate me. Listen to me, OC. This country needs to remember that I grew up in East End, you know. And when you ask me to verify that I'm Caymanian by going and get an acknowledgement letter from immigration, who's using the same documentation that I go over registry to get, that is not going to happen. What you are doing and what this government, and I'm calling my good friend the Premier out, what this government is doing is allowing other people to come into this country and question the veracity of my youth and my ancestry, my parents, who painstakingly went to Georgetown, to the old government administration building right where this Radio Cayman is now, and registered me as a live birth in this country, and the birth certificate that they have on file for me, if the government cannot say that that is authentic, then what am I? I wasn't registered in England. I wasn't registered in America, nor Japan, nor Canada. Right here in Georgetown, Ben Ross, Mama registered me.
Okay. Well, here's and I know
one of the things.
Go ahead,
Mr. McLean on the floor of the assembly. And I'm not going to call the name here or the names of the people, right?
Right.
But we know who they are. The public knows who the bank are. And what bothers me is the silence from the board and the managing director of the bank, right, as to how these things can be justified.
Okay.
Right, and I think it is time for some public scrutiny on what's going on in this stuff.
Okay.
What was it? Martin Luther King said, "Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And wherever there is injustice against my people, you're going to find Arden McLean with a clenched fist who ready to fight."
Okay. Well, I'll give you another one. No, I shouldn't say a better one. Article in the Bermuda newspaper. When will the PLP, that's a Progressive Labour Party, put Bermudans first? That's in Bermuda.
But I mustn't say anything.
And
really?
Here's a quote from an anonymous quote. "The forest was shrinking, but the trees kept voting for the axe, as its handle was made of wood, and they thought it was one of them." So they thought that the axe was one of them. They kept falling, but they kept voting for the axe because the axe handle was made of wood, and they thought that the axe was one of them.
And I keep saying, Caymanians, listen to the song by Eagles, "Last Resort." You call someplace paradise, kiss it. But goodbye.
The Caymanian the Caymanian professionals in these organizations that have been identified need to start asking their managers and whatnot, is this true? How is this possible? How did this come about?
Okay.
You won't pressure me? Hey, wrong person.
Yeah, wrong
person for you to pressure.
Somebody say amen, Mr. McLean. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension for the record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I want to also remind you that we are brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. John Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking and pension needs, call or visit a Fidelity branch today. Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealerships serving the Cayman Islands. And Cayman Pharmacy Group, with locations in West Base and professional pharmacy at CTMH. 5 shipping ports. Find your shipping solution by calling Seaboard Marine at 949-4977.